episode 2?
Episode 2. I decided that Zach needed to be in front of the camera because he's just too beautiful to be behind it. Right?
Yes. Obviously. Because if I'm behind the camera, how are people going to know that I have smoldering good looks? And how am I ever going to find
The
a
one.
mate? Yeah. Hit me up. I'm on Tinder.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this is not a hookup podcast.
Is this?
Okay. So today's episode, I'm talking about probably the second or third house I ever cleaned, and this one was one of the worst ones. When we came into the house, we had no idea what to expect. I was new to the job. You were not on this job, but it kind of was a very wide, rude awakening to mental health issues. So I'll paint a little picture of kind of what we walked into and what we saw in our first kind of impression, so you can get an idea. So we walk into this house, it's vacant. She no longer lives there, and she had passed in hospital, and we were contacted by a family member who had no idea that she was living like this and had no idea that she'd even died. She got really, really sick from living in this mess. So we walk in, and there were bird cages, and so I remember just bird crap everywhere on the floor. Like the birds, I guess, were just left running. But then there was also dog crap and cat feces. I think there was a lot of poop everywhere, all over the floor, everywhere. I mean, it was everywhere. And back to the, down the hallway, I remember just looking into the bathroom, and I was like, what in the world? I mean, it was the plumbing had stopped working. Basically, it was absolutely awful. We ended up just putting a contractor bag over the entire toilet and then breaking the toilet, like pulling the entire toilet out, because you can't clean that.
Yeah.
So that was the issue. I guess the plumbing had stopped working, and she was too embarrassed to ask for help. And going back into her back room, I remember, we walked through the house, we go down the hallway, and I look to the right, and there's this room, and it's a craft room, and you could see it was chock full of stuff. I mean, she was obviously very talented. She made a lot of handmade cards. And I remember just looking in there and just being like, everything seemed like at one point it was so organized, and then it just kind of got too much stuff went in there, and it was just full, right? And then it's just you can't even get into the room, let alone do your crafting anymore, because now you filled the room up, and so no longer she was crafting. We go back to the back bedroom, and she's got like an ensuite, and I remember looking in there, and there were just like these Whataburger cups and like whatever, every fast food
I
cup.
feel like I know where this is
Yeah,
going.
there were like all these cups all over the room, and they were all full. And I mean, we were in respirators anyway, so we couldn't smell, but like I can't imagine what that room smelled like. All those cups were full of urine because her plumbing had stopped working. So I remember looking over and seeing her ensuite bathroom, and you can't even see in it. It's to the door all the way up, and it was adult diapers, depends.
Mm-hmm.
And they were obviously that's how she went to the bathroom. So there was a lot of trash in there too, food. I mean, it just all got thrown in there. But once we got into that bathroom, and we were like starting to getting to around the toilet area and into the bathtub, when we started pulling stuff out, the whole wall was black. There was so much black mold in there that
you're telling me about this one.
Yeah, and it was scary because that was my first experience of black mold, first experience of just this life that she was living. It was very eye-opening for me. The job before that, it was a retail hoarder, and I had the best time because it was amazing. She had
It's
great
a big
taste.
180.
Yeah, and so this was very much an eye-opener, and it didn't scare me off. I was like, okay, we got this. And I remember we cleaned that house. When our team came in the next day, or after we'd finished, I remember them being like, you did not need to clean to this level. Like this was, we were just trying to hand it over to an investor that was gonna
gut it
and renovate it. And I was like, are you kidding me? We were like scrubbing the floors, and it was, I mean, my before and after photos for this house was amazing. Like I remember looking at that sparkling floor and just the countertops and the windows and everything. And I mean, we had there were cobwebs all over the walls, all over the ceilings. We just cleaned it for hours and hours and hours, scrubbing.
How many
And
days did that job take?
it was probably like a 5 to 6 day job. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it, but
Yeah, so paint that picture. She then, got very sick and ended up in hospital, and she didn't make it. And it's just such a sad story because I wonder how she got to that point. I wonder where it is when you flip. You could tell that she was very happy in her crafting life
hmm
and, enjoyed making cards and
like where is the switch that started becoming a dumping
yeah,
ground
yeah,
to just get mess, not to deal with it, but just get it out of sight.
yeah,
Especially if she loved that hobby, if she
yeah.
had done it for so long.
And at some point, maybe, sometimes I think a lot of this comes from just even sickness. You're down for 10 days and and then the dog poops on the floor and then you don't clean it up because you're in bed sick, and then I
Yeah,
think and then you forget to take the trash out because you've been sick, and then things build up, and there's a point where it just becomes too overwhelming, and then the plumbing goes out, and then but by that time there's no way you're letting anybody into your house because you're so embarrassed and there's so much shame. And that's what I really want to talk about today is just wishing and trying to, this is what my podcast is for. I'm trying to hopefully reach the people that feel this same way and tell them, like, you need to reach out sooner because this woman died, like, and like it breaks my heart because she didn't deserve that, and she didn't deserve to live the way she lived, and she all she needed to do was ask for help. And I don't know where it became in society to it's so hard for people to ask for help, you know.
yeah, and well, and being so isolated and not having, because I think one of the common factors that I've seen with these really intense cleaning jobs where it is hazmat, respirator, we're throwing away
Shoes.
shoes after the job. Um, but usually, like, there's always someone, like you said, nobody came over. There's almost always a friend, there's
Yeah,
almost always a family member
yeah.
that, whether it is like what we discussed in the last episode with the pulmonologist and having a friend, um, or if it's, family members that say, hey, like, you need to get this done.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is someone just by chance stopping by and finally seeing it, and then that illusion of, oh yeah, everything's fine, everything's good, I just don't have people over, I just don't host. that's
If anyone ever
that's
says that to
gone.
me, like any of my friends ever say, "Oh, I don't host," I'd be like, I'm coming over to your house right now. Like, I'm gonna check in on you because that's not normal. Not even not host. I don't let people into my house. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think there's something they're hiding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Either hoarding or,
yeah,
I don't know, maybe they're a
yeah.
serial killer or
Just
something.
living it. Oh
Either way, I
yeah.
don't trust them.
Oh my gosh, like Jeffrey Dahmer with the
To be clear, we have never found human remains
just
in
cat,
any cooler
just
or
cat,
freezer.
just cat remains.
Just cat remains. One time, a mummified cat. That's another story.
Yeah,
But no, back to, like, there's almost always a friend or a family member
yeah.
that has stepped in, or at the very least, if it's not a really disgusting job, someone that said, like, no, you need to get people in
I'm
here to clean, you need to
I'm
get people in here to organize.
this has happened twice now where friends have come in ready to help like immediately,
Mm-hmm.
and they get that shit done. Like there was another situation with a lady and she had three college friends that came in from out of town. Like one came in from Florida, they flew in, I think it might have been a week, and we came in for 3 of those days and we completely cleared it. That was a really sad story. She had like she was running a dog rescue place at her house, and she became like they but all the
Oh
dogs
wow.
were they were all kind of like aggressive dogs, and so they all had to be crated separately. They couldn't really be together, and it must have been such a chaotic household. And she
Yeah.
brought them into the house, and so there was crates in every room, but the smell was so bad because the dogs pooped in the crates. Because she was a nurse, so she was gone in her nursing. She
For
was
hours on
yeah,
hours.
and there was 14 dogs there. Yeah, and so all of her friends came in. They had a guy come in, a rescue team. They took all the dogs but three of her, special ones, and then rehomed them or whatever, or took them into the rescue. And her friends just kind of were her support system. They were her shoulder. They were her support, and it was hard for her to tell them to let them in. It was really hard.
Yeah, especially whenever it's like you and I were discussing earlier, like people that do need help because of the mental health issues of whatever psychological blocks that they have from just getting things done, because like it sounds so easy, but when you're faced with such daunting tasks and then it keeps building up,
Yes.
a lot of these people, they don't, there is the shame factor that they don't want to let people in because they don't want to show who they really
Mm-hmm.
are.
Yep.
Not that that is who they are, that's just a circumstance. But these are people that, in a society that values independence
Yep.
as a virtue, people that do need help and do deserve help, they're not going to reach out because they don't want to be needy. But it's not that, like I was saying earlier, it's not that you need help, it's that
Yep.
you deserve help.
Yes.
You have people that love you, you have family that wants to support you, that we've seen so many friends and family members of these clients come in and work alongside us
Yes.
because they are so passionate about getting their friend or their family member back into a comfortable
Yes.
reset home. These people really care, and I'm sure many of the clients that we've had that didn't let anyone in for so long, um, I'm sure that it's almost a shock to them of like, oh wow, these people still, they're looking
Yeah.
past all of this and they're more worried just about me. Like those friends that came in and
Yeah.
they just focused on
Yeah.
their friend, on supporting and being a foundation.
Yeah. And I also feel like if there are people that are alone, like this lady with this house that we just did, or that I did, with the black mold, and I think that maybe she had fallen out with her family. I wasn't sure of the story, but I wonder if they got to a point where she just gave up hope and didn't eat. I mean, if she was living in a completely different situation, if she had a clean house and she was still doing her crafts, I bet she would be going out and she would be going to the grocery store. She would maybe have friends over, or she would go and to. There came a point in her life where she gave up hope and she just crawled into her little hole in her under her rock and just gave up and didn't meet anyone else and didn't have any other friends and that's what I feel strongly about. Yeah, this is where I struggle because I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to this woman. I don't know, was she isolated? Did depression isolate her? Did she push people away? Did
Or it could
illness?
have been, like you said, like sometimes you're sick, or maybe she was hospitalized for a bit and then came home, didn't have the energy or the
Yeah.
will to deal with whatever mess was already there, and then it just spirals.
Yeah.
It's a real snowball. Almost every single one of these jobs, it's always a snowball. I mean, OCD, ADHD,
ADHD is a big one because
that's a big one.
and so the fact that she was so unbelievably organized, and I see this a lot. She had, I mean, you would pull out a tray and she would have all these pens and they had a separate label on them of the name of the pen.
She had a system.
She had a big system, yeah.
So, and I think that a big part of that, because I've seen that, in myself and in other friends that have ADHD and that have OCD, and especially whenever you struggle with executive function,
Mm,
and seeing something over there that needs to be thrown away and it's been there for 2 days now. It's like, why can't I just go over there and grab it? But when it's something that you're passionate about, whenever it's a hobby, whenever it's a sport, whenever it's something that you really continuously find joy from,
yeah,
then yeah, it's really easy to get meticulous and to get organized because this is your passion.
yeah,
And if I'm focusing on this, then I don't have to focus on the
yeah,
mess behind me.
yeah,
You know, it's easy to get distracted
mm-hmm,
whenever there is so much to be done when there's so much weight that you feel of, yeah, I could get this done, but it's going to take so long, and
And it's overwhelming,
it's
and
overwhelming.
I'll deal with it another day, or I'll just ignore it.
Yeah, because
It
there are
be-
so many buttons that you have to push to do that. Is you have to have the cleaning supplies. You have to go get any scrubbing materials. You have to figure out, where am I going to dump this stuff, because it's a house full of trash
yeah.
and waste that has to go somewhere. Because, and I don't think we've mentioned this yet, but with the work that we do, I would say 9 times out of 10 there's a dumpster. We rent a dumpster,
Mm-hmm.
a big skiff to um, throw everything into. And the idea of, if I was a hoarder, and the idea of having to not only rent a dumpster, but I have to call someone to do that. I have to talk on the phone. That's anxiety,
Yeah.
because then I'm also having to say, "Hey, I need a dumpster for this, or I need it so large." And then they ask, "Is that the construction site?" No, it's going in front of my home.
Yeah.
That
But then could you
is,
even imagine if you were a hoarder, you then throwing your stuff away? Like there was no way.
oh yeah, like I guarantee you, if I was in that position, if I had been a hoarder for years and decades, it's just been building up forever, then I would probably end up renting the dumpster and being like, okay, I have this so many days to fill it. And I'd probably fill up not even a quarter of it,
Yeah.
because I would be so overwhelmed with how much there is to do.
Yeah.
Like, it is so helpful to have people come in. The person, just leaves and we take care of it, or they'll stay there the entire time to sometimes fight us
Oh
on
yeah.
what is going to get thrown away, especially if it's not covered in waste, if it's not a biohazard, and they want to, save random little things. But some, like, you have to have someone come in and take your hand in a situation that dire,
And
and
the
that just goes back to the not being able to reach out for help
yeah,
because of
also,
shame.
yeah, the shame. And then at what point did they decide they needed help? Is it because they're sick, or is it because they died? Like it gets too far, and then it's really hard. And then you're almost forced now, because maybe APS came over, or maybe, you know, you've got children and CPS got involved, or I mean, it's endless. It's endless for the reasons why. Or you got sick. There was a lady that she said she fell and she was on the floor for like 3 or 4 days. And
What?
yeah, and she said that her kidneys started shutting down. And this story is really sad. And she doesn't have the money for us. And I want to start like a crowd fund, because she can't afford our services, but we're thinking of, how we can help her. She's got a crazy story, but she said that when the ambulance came, she had a mouse carcass in her hair. Yeah,
How
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it. I guess it just
did
lived.
it crawl in her hair while she was on the floor
I
and
don't
it
think
died
so.
there?
I think it probably like was in her hair for a while, or actually maybe it was on the floor dead, and
And
she
she
laid
fell into
down
it.
and fell
Yeah.
into it. That sounds
That
better.
sounds that sounds so much better, because this is not a podcast for judgment.
Yeah,
Um, but sometimes we'll have opinions, because that's wild. We're
yeah.
gonna choose to believe that it was already on the floor and this poor woman fell on top of it,
I
because
will
every other explanation just sounds horrible.
watch this space for this one, because she's agreed to like be interviewed.
Mm.
And so I will ask her that question. So how did it get in your
How
hair?
did it get in your hair?
Yeah, it's sad. So she's been forced into getting help because APS got involved. Okay, crazy. Going back to this, story with the black mold and the insanely organized crafter that went crazy wrong somewhere along the line. And um, fast forward, I get 3 years, maybe almost 3 years. I'm at a house. We're cleaning out a house, getting it ready. We're putting everything into auction, going through everything, putting things in the trash, whatever. I come across this card and I look at the
It was
back. I
hers.
noticed it immediately. And then I look at the back and I'm just like, it was like seeing a ghost.
Oh, I bet.
It was crazy. And I immediately was like, where did you get this card from? It was like a Christmas card, but it had been given to their family probably like 10 years, 15 years ago because they kept everything.
Mhm.
So it had been given to the family forever
That's
ago.
all, you're in a hoarder house for
Yeah.
you're there for a reason. It's a
Yeah, yeah,
hoarder
yeah.
house.
Yeah. It was a Christmas card from like the 80s. No. But she was just this woman knew the woman it was her parents' home that we were cleaning out. Parents had passed on. It had been sitting there for 5 years and she was finally ready to go through it. So there was mice everywhere in this house. And yeah. So we came in, she was very, very hard about letting go too. This was all of her parents' things, and
Mm-hmm.
you could tell that she just wasn't ready to let go. And the house
Mm-hmm.
had sat there for 5 years, but it was her parents who'd passed on. It was just it's all memories, and I wish I had all those memories of my mom's stuff. I really don't have much at all because we didn't keep anything um, that was just like all of my childhood stuff. I don't have any of that. I would wish it. I wish
Like
I had
a
it now. I wish I did. I do wish I had like
like a
childhood.
sentimental,
Yeah,
like
like
a
that.
hope
That
chest kind
my
of thing.
yeah that
Yeah.
my kids then would have. I have
Mm-hmm.
none of that. Do you?
My parents have a few things. Um, I mean, most of the things that we always made have fallen apart at this point
Yes,
because
they're so cheap,
they've
cheaply made.
yeah, it's like
Yes.
construction paper and glue
Yeah.
sticks and stuff, and especially if it's like holiday stuff like
Mm.
ornaments. That every homemade ornament I've seen from anyone's childhood looks like it got caught in a disposal. Like it is always like a picture of them as a child, but it's been faded and now they look like they're
And they
possessed.
have like lollipop sticks around the corners, making it like into a
There's one
tree.
pom pom left and there's no fuzz left on it.
Oh my
Few
gosh,
sequins.
I have that. And I've every time I put it on the tree, I'm just like, do I need to keep this?
It's important to keep these memories.
Yeah,
It is also important to make sure, like you said, with that woman that was, watching over very strictly on what you were getting rid of.
yeah,
It's important to, like, yeah, you can keep memories, but not. It's. I don't think it's a memory worth keeping if you have to come up with
a
a
reason.
reason with justification.
Yeah.
It's not even just like if there is a reason of like, oh no, I remember that from this time and this age.
Yes.
I want that because it holds a very specific memory of a time and place. It's not just, oh well, that belonged to them, and well, I could donate that, I could give that to someone else. Because how likely is it that that person is actually going to then take the steps to donate it, to give it to friends? And like you said, some of this stuff that people try to justify is it's falling apart. Nobody wants this,
Mm,
and it really is like you're creating, and sometimes it's hard not to just tell these people like you're coming up with excuses.
yeah.
That's all I hear right now,
Yeah.
Tammy. It's excuse, excuse, excuse,
Yeah.
justification. There is no good reasoning.
Hmm.
And honestly, I think that can be one of, if not the toughest part of some of these jobs, because it's easy to get used to putting on a hazmat suit and respirator and just dealing with gross stuff. If you've been
Mm.
doing it for a few days, it's just the
It's
job
easy,
then.
yeah.
But dealing with the people that you
Have a
know
story for every
have a
item.
story for everything, and then at the same time, so they're fighting these memories and the story for everything that they have, why they need to keep it, while also fighting whatever mental health issues they're struggling with, whether it's trauma
Yeah.
from loss, whether it's childhood trauma of like I've met people that they'll keep stuff because their parents threw everything out, like because they were absolutely not hoarders, and so it's like the
Yeah.
idea of getting to keep something that isn't necessary, but they just they want it. It has
And then
memory.
and then you have all the people that came from the depression. And so that
Hmm.
age of people, they're not letting go because they had nothing back then.
And that was my grandma. She was, they grew up in the Great Depression, and she would hold on to every piece of paper, not necessarily just memories, but it was almost like anything that had caught her fancy at one point, that had caught her eye, she kept. What would you say to people though that, watching this? to hear you say that, knowing that, like, okay, this person did make certain decisions. Like, what is your response to people that are like, oh well, they should have just cleaned, they should have just taken care of this.
Uh, I think that sometimes too, and it's hard to understand what's really going on when I haven't experienced it myself. Um, I don't judge at all. I don't understand it a lot of times, and I also think that why do they feel like they didn't deserve to ask for help?
Like, it's this, who would want to help me after I've let myself get to this point?
Exactly. And this is what I wanted to close with. Um, if you are experiencing this feeling, and if you are feeling so overwhelmed and stuck and lonely and isolated and all of those things, and too ashamed to ask, you have to internally think of all your friends and family that would rather you ask them for help than lose you.
No, like you said, it's not just, oh, it's not just about the potential sickness. We see a lot of sickness with our elderly clients, with, like you said, people that have passed away and their family has us come in. But so sickness can be an issue, and then those people may go into, um, they may
Depression.
go to the hospital because of health issues, and then depression, and the mental health plus the poor living condition. But some people that, like, the younger people, um, that aren't a high risk for sickness, in these situations, because maybe they don't have pets,
Mm.
maybe they just have a problem with hoarding and not cleaning up.
There's
it's
always cats, though.
it's not just taking it, there's always cats. That's the number one contributing factor, is cats.
Mhm.
Chips wouldn't, though. Chips would never. Chips is her cat.
He's not really my cat.
It's not really, it's the neighborhood cat.
He's the neighborhood cat. He's the whore of the shore.
I love that. For those who aren't even in a biohazard issue, it's the isolation of, like, I'm not going to let anyone in, and then you get depressed because you're stuck in a situation that you feel trapped by.
Hmm.
So you don't go out, you don't have friends. Like you were saying, that woman that, if she had kept it clean, if she had, you know,
The will to
the will
live
to,
and go visit with other friends, go
yeah.
get coffee once
And
a week.
because we don't know when that turning point was, but we have to presume, based off of what we know and what you experienced,
Yeah.
that there was a turning point in her life due to the house.
Yeah.
We believe,
Yes.
at least. I mean, there may have been a traumatic
Yeah. The
event
family
that could have,
members never said anything about any
yeah.
traumatic in the in. They were isolated from her. She was isolated from them, but I think it was it was, yeah. I don't know. That's the thing. It's like I don't know.
From what you could tell, it seemed like it was self isolation.
Yeah. Well, and the plumbing.
Well, yeah,
But then animal mess, I mean, I'm sure the plumbing came later because of the house condition, for sure. But
because I've been in I wasn't on that job. I've been in one job where there's a similar issue of diapers and trash bags, and because the plumbing was messed up, and they didn't get the plumbing fixed because they don't want anyone to see their house.
mhm.
Whether it's a hazard and a mess and animal feces everywhere, or if it's just a bunch of junk. They just don't
um,
want anyone to see it. And so they're willing to accept their circumstances and
yeah,
accept sinking lower. We have lots of good stories, some horrifying,
yeah. I'm
some
gonna switch
really
it up.
exciting.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's actually a hoarder that lives. I can see her house from my house, and I live in a really nice area. And she's probably the only one in our entire community. And I can see her house, and I've tried to help her, and she doesn't want help. And we've got friends that have checked in on her. I have to message her multiple times, are you okay? Did you survive winter? And one day I know it's going to probably be too late. And that's going to be when we're finally able to come in, because
Mhm.
she's so stubborn. She doesn't think there's anything wrong. I've seen inside of her, like her car is full to the brim, and her health is definitely struggling. It's not. where it was. And hers was a trauma. I mean, I think her husband passed away 3 months after she moved into this house. And
Oh, wow.
this was their forever home. And this was probably 12 years, 13 years ago. So I think it's been going on for that long.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you are in a similar situation with any of these stories that we talk about, and you're just full of shame and embarrassment and can't don't believe you deserve the help, I hope that you can reach out to somebody that you know and ask, or even just hire us, and we'll come in anonymously, like ninjas in the night, and we'll clean it all up and
Except
help
it's going to be
you.
in the daytime because I need my beauty sleep.
Yeah. um, yeah, so just reaching out, because at the end of the day, I think that what people don't realize is you are better off asking for help and letting people in to see your
Hmm.
mess than having people lose you because you passed away or you got so sick. And
Or you
um,
just isolated
yeah,
yourself
and you've
because of,
isolated yourself, and nobody gets to be a part of your life anymore because you've given up on
yeah.
having friends and family and help. So
Yeah, it's a spiral. So if you're someone who, if you are in a situation or think that you're starting to spiral, reach out to friends, reach out to family. I mean, you could even reach out to us. I
yeah,
mean, even if you're not going to hire a cleaning crew, I mean, just the experience that we've had of, if you just need to show someone
yeah,
your space, if
yeah.
you just want to send, you could send us pictures of your hoarding mess and say, hey, this is what I have, and we'll say
And then
you
we'll
can do
say,
it.
yeah, we can, yeah,
You got it.
yeah,
You know,
yes,
really, I think a lot of people just need
reassurance.
reassurance and encouragement.
Yes, yes, you are
So,
not alone. Yes.
yeah,
All right.
I really
Well,
like today's episode.
yes, me too. We will see you next week. Ciao, ciao. Cheers.
I love us.
I love us.